Hey Physique Freaks, how's it going? Coach Scott here. Today I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes to show you how I prepare one of my favorite meals, barbecue chicken parmesan with a side of homemade fries and asparagus. Now, I'm going to be preparing this meal for 3 people, so for those of you who are trying to dial in your nutrition right now, you want to be a bit more precise with your tracking, I'm going to show you how I divvy up the portions, weigh and measure all the ingredients, and how I log it all in MyFitnessPal. Hope you enjoy this footage. If you do, please hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it. Let's get to making that meal. The ingredients are 3 chicken breasts, 3 slices of prosciutto, asparagus, 3 yellow potatoes, tomato, grated Parmesan cheese, some pasta sauce, breadcrumbs, and some Pam's cooking spray. First thing I did was weigh each chicken breast. The first one came in at 7.8 ounces, the second one was 8.6 ounces, and the third one was the largest one at 10.4 ounces, and that was the one that I will be eating myself. I then sliced the chicken breast in half and opened them up so I can add the filling inside. The first filler is a spinach and cheese pasta sauce, and I measured out 125 milliliters here. I then took that pasta sauce and spread about 1/3 of it on the bottom layer of the chicken breast. Next, I measured out 28 grams of grated Parmesan cheese and spread that on top of the pasta sauce. Next, I placed a slice of prosciutto on each chicken breast. I then placed a bit more pasta sauce on top of the prosciutto, then a tomato, and then some more grated Parmesan cheese, and then use some toothpicks to hold the chicken breast together. So folding it back on top and then holding it all together. I then sprayed a sheet of tinfoil with some Pam and placed the chicken breast on top of that. And then I topped off the chicken breast with the remaining pasta sauce and some breadcrumbs. Now the breadcrumbs I had measured out 1/4 cup and I ended up only using about half of that portion. And then afterwards I finished it off by adding the remaining grated Parmesan cheese. I then placed the chicken and asparagus on the Traeger grill set to 350 degrees and cooked it until the chicken reached an internal temperature of 165 degrees, so the chicken was nice and moist and tender and delicious. It is also the perfect timing for the asparagus. For the home fries I used 3 yellow potatoes, the first one weighing in at 177 grams, the second 180, and the third 159 grams. That's a total of 516 grams of raw potato, and divide that into 3 servings, it comes to 172 grams. I then sliced the potato in thin strips and then cut those thin strips into the shape of little fries. Sprayed a cooking sheet with a bit of Pam and put the fries, the potatoes, on top of the pan and baked it in the oven 350 degrees for 25 minutes. When the fries were done, I removed them from the cooking sheet and placed them in a bowl which I placed on a scale, and they weighed in at 285 grams, so they lost some moisture during the cooking process. I divide that into a third, so that's my portion there, and that comes to 95 grams for my single serving. And here's the mouth-watering and delicious finished product. So we're looking at a total of 658 calories for this meal, 56 grams of carbs, 19 grams of fat, and 83 grams of protein. Now let's take a look at how I logged each of the ingredients, starting off with the Pam spray. I logged 3 servings there. 1 serving is a 1-second spray, so this is counting for the cookie sheet that I sprayed for the potatoes, as well as the tinfoil that I put the chicken and the asparagus on. So that's a rough estimate. It's going to be within the ballpark, so nothing too far off there. The second ingredient is the chicken breast, and the serving size for the chicken breast is 4 ounces. So I put 2 servings, 2 5/8 serving here, which works out to 10.5 ounces. And if you recall, my piece of chicken weighed 10.4 ounces. So a slight overestimation here, but I would rather overestimate than underestimate. Next, let's look at the asparagus. So according to MyFitnessPal, the measurement I went with is a single serving is 1/2 cup of asparagus. I multiplied that by 4, so I had about 2 cups of asparagus there. Next is the prosciutto, and the serving size for the prosciutto is 3 slices. I only used 1 for my slice, so I just went with a third serving here, which brought it to 30 calories. Next, the tomato. This was a bit of a guesstimation here. They're going by 100-gram tomato. I'd say I put a quarter of a tomato. Really, we're only looking at 4 calories here total. Even if I'm off a little bit, I probably overestimated it. Or even if I underestimated a bit, I'm not going to be too far off here. Next, we'll look at the grated Parmesan cheese, and I see, so the measurement is 1/4 cup. That's what we used for the entire recipe, so I just entered in 1/3 for my single serving there. Next up, we'll take a look at the breadcrumbs. And if you recall, the serving size here is 1/4 cup, and I only used half of that. So on the serving size, if I was to enter in the data for the entire meal that I made, so for all 3 servings, it would be half of that measurement. Now, half of that measurement is for the entire meal. I only want 1/3 of that. It gets a little bit tricky, so really it would be 1/6 of that 1/4 cup that I use for my own chicken breast. A little tough there is no 1/6 measurement on there, so instead of going with 1/8, I went with 1/4 because it is better to overestimate how much you're consuming than underestimate. Next is the pasta sauce, so the spinach and cheese pasta sauce. I used 1/3 of that serving on my chicken breast. Again, this is approximate. Who knows? I may have used a tiny bit more on one chicken breast compared to the other, but this is at least giving us a decent estimation here. And now for the homemade fries, I used yellow potatoes, and in the serving size here in MyFitnessPal, it's 150 grams, but I had 3 potatoes there, and the average weight, so if you divide it between 3, the weight was 172 grams raw. So I went with a 1 1/4 serving size here, which brought it to 187 grams, so a little bit higher than the 172. If I went in with 1 1/8, it'd be 168 grams, but again, I think I'm better off overestimating the calories that I consumed rather than underestimating. I hope you enjoy this meal as much as I do, and I hope that the behind the scenes look at how I track each individual ingredient when making a meal for a family was helpful to you. If you did enjoy this, please hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that alert button so you're notified each time I upload a video. Before you leave, don't forget to download your free guide, Jacked After 40. Have yourself an absolutely amazing day. Catch you in the next video.